All right, guys, so we're still looking at this Essential Standards quiz. Going to break it up into a couple different parts here. So this is part 2. Should have already watched the first part of the video, but we're going to continue with number 6 here. And we've got another essential of understanding the distributive property, and we should be able to know how to distribute and rewrite this. All right, so remember, distribute means to multiply everything on the outside of the parentheses through the parentheses. Okay, so in this case, I have to take the 4 times the z. So we know we don't have to use a multiplying sign. So 4 times z, we just write 4z. Okay, minus, and again, I like to draw the little loops here to remind me to take the 4 and distribute it through. So we've already taken 4 times z minus what's 4 times 9. So 4 times 9 is 36, and there's the simplest way to do it. Okay, but you don't always, some people like to understand this. You might write 4z minus 4 times 9. Okay, because that still tells me you understood how to distribute 4 times z and then minus 4 times 9. Now eventually you're going to combine that 4 times 9. We know if we follow PEMDAS, you multiply first, so 4 times 9 is 36. So at some point you would change that. But again, both these would tell me that you're understanding how to distribute. Okay. Second part, usually a little bit tougher now because it's already been multiplied through. This gets a little tougher to show you understand it. You've got to pull out a common factor. If I multiply through, when it's in this form, I have to divide out a common factor. Okay, so in this case, I look at 8 A's and 40, and I'll see that both of these can divide by 8. So a common factor would be 8. We try to use the greatest common factor if we can. 4 and 2 would also work, but if I can find that greatest common factor and pull that out, that usually helps to get a little easier form. So I know when it says distributive property, there's going to be parentheses in there. Okay, so if I pull out an 8, I've got parentheses left. All that means is I'm dividing both of these by 8. I'm pulling that out because it's already been multiplied through to get this, so I pull out that 8. So 8 A's divided into 8 groups just leaves me with A in every group plus 40 divided by 8 is 5. All right, so this shows me not I always think undoing the distributive property. You distribute through and then you pull out a common factor. Okay, how do I know if I'm right? Well, distribute back through it. Better equal this. So if I take 8 times A, that is 8A. Plus 8 times 5 is 40. So again, always double check. Distribute through it. Better turn back into that. Then you know how to distribute and undistribute or pull out common factors in there. Okay. So again, I could have pulled out a 4 or a 2, but we're just going to show this one example. Try to do it with the greatest common factor. And again, this will help when you go to try to solve and set this equal to things. It'll help you. Sometimes you have certain forms you like better to do different things in algebra. So we got to know how to distribute kind of both ways there. Okay. Number 7, we talked about ratios. And on ratios, again, you're doing these comparisons here. So in here, I want the ratio of cats to monkeys. All right, so if I look here, I see 1, 2, 3. Remember, you got to do cats first if it asks for that. So cats, we've got 3. Remember, 2 dots here. The colon stands for ratio. Okay, and next, cats to monkeys. And monkeys, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this is a 3 to 5 ratio. Okay, you could also write, for example, 3 to 5. That's how you say it. Sometimes ratios are expressed as fractions, so you could have 3 to 5 ratio. Okay, this would just be the ratio of, again, cats to monkeys. So you can write them and look at them in different ways, but remember you got to do it in order. Cats to monkeys, cats have to come first. 3 cats for every 5 monkeys, so that 3 to 5 ratio. Okay, and the last one, again, some more of this ratio work. If you paid $75 for 15 hamburgers, what's the cost of 1 hamburger? That's that unit rate. So one way to look at this, okay, again, this is a ratio. Let's do a ratio rate table. And this is a ratio of cost to hamburgers, or the two things you're comparing. Okay, and in this case, we know the cost is $75 for 15 hamburgers. All right, and we're looking at, again, that multiplicative or divisional relationship. Okay, and a lot of times using these ratio rate tables can help us keep things organized. A lot of times you can do this in one step. If I want to get it down to 1 hamburger, I want to get 15 hamburgers down to 1. Well, to do that, don't I divide by 15? 15 divided by 15 is 1, so I must divide the top by 15. And 75 divided by 15 gets me 5. So I can look at that and say, well, if $75 it gets me 15 hamburgers, that means 1 hamburger only costs $5. I'm just doing that 15 times over and over, that same rate. Okay, so the answer, what's the cost of 1 hamburger? Well, I got it down to 1, it would be $5. Okay, so one way to think about there with that ratio rate table. Okay, and one thing's very important, you got to understand, get things down to its unit rate. If you can get it down to what 1 costs, in this case, everything's a little bit easier when you get it down to 1. Okay, so again, we've talked about several different things with our essentials, and in these 2 videos we've watched, these are things that by the end of the year, again, we want everybody to make sure they're understanding these basic concepts as our big essentials there for 6th graders, because you're going to use them a lot moving forward.